Samsung really bought it this year with the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, especially in the AI department. But is it enough to earn your wallet's respect? Let's find out in this review. This is the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra review. Now, the way I'm going to be doing this review is a little bit different than past reviews. I'm going to break this down into 4 sections: hardware, software, camera, and AI. By the way, all of these will be time-stamped, so if you want to fast forward to AI, or if you want to go to the camera, or if you want to go to the hardware, or you want to go to the software parts, all of them will be time-stamped in the comments or in the description down below. But first, I need to know if anyone has had Bluetooth issues with the Galaxy S24 Ultra, because I have, especially when I'm in the gym. Not sure if that's because the phone is on a tripod, but it's still something that I thought I would ask. Comment down below if you have any Bluetooth issues with the Galaxy S24 series at all. We're going to start off this review with the hardware. Right off the bat, unboxing this phone has somewhat of a premium feeling to it. You get a nice box with the phone, a cable, and a SIM ejector. Right away, you are met with an anti-reflector screen. The idea of this screen is to reduce the amount of glare and reflections that you see in the screen. You can see here in my previous video that there was very little to no glare at all, making this phone much easier to use in sunlight. The screen has Corning Gorilla Glass that is scratch resistant. This is awesome and great for durability, but I still prefer to use a screen protector on my device. Holding this device feels very boxy, sort of like holding a notepad. The back has a material that feels like a matte finish to it that feels really nice in the hand. With the titanium sides, makes this phone a very nice pleasure to hold. But if you have the Ultra model, then you probably have a small dent in your hand because of the sharper corners. That is not a problem with the S24 or S24 Plus. Also, the back has a very similar layout to the S23 Ultra and the S22 Ultra. Now, for context, if you plan on buying the S24 or the S24 Plus, you're still going to want to watch this review, because a lot of the same features are going to be on those phones as well, minus the S Pen. On the bottom, you get the S Pen, a bottom firing speaker, the USB-C charging port, and the SIM tray. Now, while the speaker is good, I'm not a fan of it because it can easily be covered when you're watching content or you're gaming. It can easily be covered by your hand, obviously. Now, there's a lot of hoopla about the vividness of this display. Samsung says they are now going to fix this in a software update after saying that they weren't. But either way, this display is amazing. The colors are saturated, sure, but they really pop, and the display is a fast 120 Hz display, and it is in 4K. Content looks really good on this device. It is a flat display, which I like, and it makes sense for a phone with the S Pen. Also, this display gets as bright as 2600 nits and gets very, very dim. I mean really dim at night. All 3 devices are powered by the Snapdragon Gen 3 chip, but the Ultra and the Plus devices have up to 12 gigs of RAM, whereas the S24 only has up to 8 gigs of RAM, to which I say to Samsung, please, it is 2024, all devices should be at 12 gigs of RAM, especially if it's a flagship. The S24 also only has 128 and 256 gig storage options. The Ultra and the Plus have 256, 512, and 1 terabyte storage options. The battery on the S24 Ultra is a 5000 milliamp hour battery that supports fast charging up to 45 watts. I could get from 0 to 100 in about 70 minutes. Wireless charging can get as fast as 25 watts. Overall, the battery life is really good. I tested it out and got around 22 hours off the charge, starting at 100% and letting it go all the way down to 0. With all the power saving modes that are on this device, you can easily get up to 2 days worth of battery life. That is very impressive. The S Pen also makes its return, as I mentioned earlier, bringing back all of the same features to the Galaxy S24 Ultra that you know and love. There's not really much to talk about here other than it feels better to use the S Pen on this screen because it is a flat display. So with all of the hardware out of the way, now it's time to discuss the software. With all the specs that I had mentioned earlier, this phone flies. I mean, it really, really flies. Scrolling is the smoothest that I have ever seen on a smartphone. Watching YouTube is a pleasure. Scrolling through social media is a pleasure to scroll through. There's a lot of new software features as well that will really bring this Galaxy to life. Starting with the lock screen that now allows you to add widgets similarly to how you're able to do it in past Android versions. You can also change the clock text on the S24, and now there's even more fonts that you can use if you swipe further to the right and press the three dots that are at the top. This is an awesome feature to have, and it allows you to really make your phone yours. And that is what we love about Android as a whole. Also, always on display returns here and is taken one step further. You can now use your lock screen wallpaper as part of your always on display, similarly to what you're able to do on the iPhone. Also, ray tracing has finally come to Samsung phones for the first time, giving you a very impressive gaming experience on mobile. Genshin Impact really brings this out. The reflections are phenomenal and really brings the gaming experience to life. With these specs, games will just fly and they will look amazing. One thing that Samsung also did promise us was 7 years of software updates. Now, I have a little bit of a hot take on this because while I think it's great that you will be getting 7 years of updated security and features, a lot of times software slows down the hardware. That to me is a concern of mine. This may not matter in the grand scheme of things because batteries and the fact that nobody keeps their phones for more than 3 years, it's still something to take note of in my personal opinion. By the way, if you made it this far into the video, like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel as well. Press the notification bell if you want to know when I will upload. You will be the first to know when I do. Also, if you made it this far into the video, comment down below Galaxy and I will heart each and every comment there is. Now finally, the third point I want to talk about is the cameras. The cameras on the Galaxy S24 Ultra are in the same spot as the previous generations, going as far back as the Galaxy Note 20. You have the 3 cameras going from top to bottom and one more on the bottom right. You also have a 200 megapixel camera, a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera, a 50 megapixel 5x telephoto lens, and a 10 megapixel 3x telephoto lens. While these cameras are not perfect, there's still some over sharpening and over saturation. These photos really go hard when in normal mode. They are really nice and vivid. The colors really stand out, maybe a little too much, but it looks really, really good. Now the 5x zoom gave me a blue tint for some weird reason. So for me it didn't match the colors the way I would have liked to, but getting into 100x zoom was still somewhat of a problem for Samsung, as you could see the picture of the Canadian goose and how grainy it really was. This here is the front-facing camera, in which you get a 12 megapixel camera and it shoots video in 4K up to 60 FPS and also in 1080p at 30 FPS. A lot of reviewers and social media influencers use the iPhone for their social media because of the compression that takes place on Android. So Samsung announced that they are working with Instagram and Snapchat to bring uncompressed, full resolution photos to those platforms. To that I say, let's go. It is about time. Now finally, AI. Now get your popcorn ready because we have a lot to talk about with AI. AI has been a big part of what Google has been doing since 2016. With this phone, there's so much that you can do with AI. So let's start with the photos. Here you could see 2 different pictures, but they're both really the same photo. This is done with the magic of Object Eraser. This allows you to draw around the subject that you want to erase, and you could just press erase. AI then fills in what was there. much like Google's Magic Eraser. So if someone is photobombing your pics or you want to remove background objects, you could just simply do that and the picture will still look amazing. There's also lasso mode that lets you use the subject as a sticker in another photo. Also, you can take the subject and move it within pictures and it will fill in the spot where the subject once was and place it elsewhere. And it will end up looking like the item was always in that other spot to begin with. Also, there is one feature that is important to me because I am one of those that records my workouts, and that's the straightening out feature. This allows you to straighten out any photo or video just by simply cropping and adjusting the angle. This is very useful, especially if you aren't good at keeping the camera straight while you are recording. Another feature that is there also to edit your photos with is the reflections eraser. Now, what this allows you to do is if you're taking a picture of something that is behind some glass, you can erase the reflections that are basically in the background of the photo. But this for me did not really work all that great. As you could see here in this photo sample, you could still see that there's still some reflections there, but it's in there and it's a feature that you can use, and to me it'll get better over time. So we'll see. These features make the phone the ultimate creator's phone because you can really make some awesome thumbnails, especially if you're starting out a YouTube channel. Now, AI isn't just in the Gallery app, it goes beyond that. Inside the phone app is Live Translate. This allows you to communicate with someone who does not speak your language. So if, let's say, someone calls me and they speak Spanish, what I can do is I can go into Call Assist and then press Live Translate, and it will automatically translate what the person is saying to me in a robotic voice. On the other end, the robotic voice will translate everything I said back to them. So basically, your phone can become your own personal translator, which is very good, especially if you're talking to someone in another country. You can also have Translate in the text messages app and the Samsung keyboard. All you gotta do is go to the Samsung keyboard and press on the stars on the top left of it, and when you type, it will take what you said and translate it to whatever language that you want. In the text messages app, it will also translate what the other person responded to you. AI also goes into the voice recording app. So if, let's say, you're using this app in a meeting, the Samsung voice recording app will detect how many people there are in the room, and it will label each voice as speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3, so on and so forth. It works pretty well. It's not perfect, as some words are not picked up as well and they're not translated, but it does know how to determine who is speaking. There's also an AI feature that is making its return to Android for the first time since 2017, and that's Circle to Search. What this allows you to do is it allows you to press down on the home button or the gesture bar and lets you draw around a subject and lets you Google whatever it is that you drew around. The reason why I say it's making its return is because back in 2015, Google introduced Google Now on Tap that came with Android 6.0 Marshmallow. This allowed you to search whatever it was that was on your screen. Rumor has it also that this same feature will be coming to Pixel phones really soon. Last but certainly not least is AI inside the Samsung Internet app. Inside the Internet app, you can have it translate a page that is written in a different language, or if you are short on time, you can have it summarize the articles that you are currently reading. This is a really good feature because this also allows you to read articles that are written in different languages that you're trying to get context from or you're trying to get a point of view from, and it also breaks down the article that you are reading. So this is a really good feature that Samsung built in the Samsung Internet app. Also, AI can summarize the notes that you took inside the Samsung Notes app. So that's there if you choose to use the Samsung Notes app, which personally I use Google Keep, but I digress. The Summarize feature is also available inside the Samsung Voice Memo app. So if you're in a meeting, it'll also summarize that as well. But there's one elephant in the room that I must mention. That is the fact that a lot of these features require an internet connection. When I was testing some of the photo editing AI features, the features that allow you to move objects over require an internet connection. So did some of the voice memo features. Now, it is believed that Samsung is planning on putting those features behind a paywall. To me, that is a move that will only anger customers, because not only is it already on the phone, but it wasn't even announced that they would do that. Just imagine if someone goes to use some of these features in 2025 and then a prompt comes up saying that they have to pay a monthly subscription to use it. That would only make customers angry, and that to me is very anti-consumer. With all that said, is this phone worth digging into your wallet for? Well, it depends on the generation you are coming from. If you have an S23, I would say no, just solely based on the fact that a lot of these features will be coming down to the S23 series. But if you're coming from something that's a little bit older, then yeah, because there's a chance that some of these AI features won't make it down to other Samsung devices. So with all that said, this phone is an excellent device. If you want to compare it to a OnePlus 8T, I did a video review on that. That is in the playlist. So until next time, I will see you in the next one. See ya. Bye.